This time I would like to call the Hardin County Board of Education meeting to order. And first on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance, and Kaya Talafera is going to lead us. Is that close? She here? There she is. She's going to lead us in the pledge.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. And I think we're going to see her again maybe after a while. But
Oh, that's good.
board commitments.
To improve our effectiveness, the Hardin County Board of Education commits to keep children first, listen, be prepared, be professional, demonstrate financial stewardship, represent the entire district and support district goals, and support board decisions.
All right, thank you. And number 4 is recognitions, and Mr. John Wright's going to take care of that.
Yes, sir. We have 3 folks to recognize, or two individuals and a group to recognize tonight, Mr. Wise, and with our Leading the Way Award, HCS Leading the Way Awards. So if you'll take care of that, we'll get started, sir.
All right.
Move we adopt the resolution. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the first young lady we will bring up, you may take a good look at her, which she'll be gone in a split second. It's a very fast young lady. We'll explain why. Come on up here, Noelle. This is Noelle Allen. She is a 4th grader at Woodland Elementary School, and listen to this accomplishment. As part of the Beast Mode Track Club, which is based here in Kentucky and has a home in some other states, she recently won the Southeast AAU Nationals 100-meter dash and 200-meter dash, so national awards. In addition, Noelle does very well in the classroom, and I did a little research, Mom, on this. She's only missed 1 day of school since her 1st grade year. I don't know if you knew that or not, but so she stays in school, but not anywhere else for very long. So congratulations, Noelle. And Mr. Kinney has a plaque there for you, or Ms. Palmer does. So congratulations. Too quick to get her picture.
Yeah, let,
Andrew,
if you don't mind, let her come back. She looks like a runner. Jackie Brangers. Jackie, I think I saw her. Jackie is a 7th grade math teacher at West Hardin Middle School, and she's working hard to ensure student growth. Listen to this. For the last 5 years, more than 80% of Mrs. Branger's students have made higher than expected growth on the measures of academic progress assessment, and her student scores are always at or near the top of district-wide scores. She has written and received a grant for a classroom set of Chromebooks, which her students use for accelerated math. And this program helps to meet students on their level and gives them access to new ideas that are beyond what the student already knows, but within their reach. Mrs. Brangers also volunteers for professional development, which helps to expand her knowledge of content and gives her valuable teaching strategies to engage students. She was most recently volunteered for Kagan training and uses these strategies regularly in her classroom. She also uses her strategies regularly in faculty meetings and ELCs. Finally, Ms. Brangers is incredibly positive. She volunteers to help with activities and is always upbeat. She volunteered last week to bring food for the West Hardin Veterans Day breakfast and is always first to get her peers excited about new innovations happening at both the school and district level. She is helpful to other teachers, offers lessons, and works diligently in professional learning communities to improve student learning. In short, Mrs. Brangers is a type of teacher that every principal wants in their building. And when I called Mike Lawson, the principal at West Hardin, and said, who do you have for this award? And I couldn't finish explaining it, and he was Ms. Brangers, Ms. Brangers, Ms. Brangers. So he's very excited to have her in his building, and as well he should be. Thank you for what you've heard. And next I'd like to bring up my friends from the El Nada Temple. And these are very distinguished gentlemen, and you'll find out here in just a second. They volunteer their time each and every week to help students at North Middle School, and they have also done some volunteer work at Radcliffe Elementary School. They work with young men, young males on things from simple things from tying a necktie to encouraging use of proper manners to helping with homework. The students which with these gentlemen work receive mentoring and support that the students may or may not receive elsewhere. They help students monitor due dates for homework, grades, and other activities that help set a firm foundation for our students. Simply put, these gentlemen love our students, and that love is truly immeasurable. Thank you for what you do for our kids. And the students, Mr. Chairman, truly love those gentlemen, and they're great mentors for our students at North Middle School.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
We need other volunteers like that.
That's right. That would solve a lot of our problems later for our children.
Focus on academics. Miss Morgan and myself, probably about a little over a month and a half ago, we went and met with Dow Chemical Corporation. And they talked a lot about supporting kids in the engineering field. What can we do to help? I know some grants have been presented to them for different groups here in our district. This was kind of unique, and I wasn't sure how this was going to happen, but I received a message from Miss Reynolds, who works at Bluegrass Middle School, and she said one of her former students had been nominated by the National Youth Leadership Forum for Engineering and Technology to attend a camp this summer. Well, the camp cost $3,500, and I don't think Miss Reynolds was the nominator of this young lady who now attends John Hardin High School, but we said, how can we help this young lady? And talking to the administrators and council, they said she is an outstanding young lady, represents the school well, good grades, good behavior. After speaking to Dow Chemical, they're going to sponsor her $3,500 to attend Georgia Tech University this summer for a week-long camp in the engineering field. And we get a chance to hear this young lady speak. You've already heard her do the pledge. This is a great opportunity for our students. We've already talked about how we can open this up to maybe one child per school next year, and maybe try to get some other corporate sponsors to help open this engineering field up for our young students. This is an opportunity to go to one of the best engineering schools in the nation, and we're going to send a Hardin County student there. So let's give a big clap tonight for Nakia Taliaferro. We'll put you front and center right here.
Hello, my name is Nakia Taliaferro. I'm 14 years old, and engineering has been a job I've been considering for a couple years now, and I was given the opportunity from Envision experience to go to engineering classes at Georgia Tech over the summer. And I never knew so many people would support me and give me the chance to experience and learn in the engineering field. I wanted to thank Mr. Sutton for helping me, and my math teacher, Ms. Reynolds. Even though she's not a math teacher anymore, she still inspires me to push forward in math and succeed in everything I do. Without her, I would not be where I am today. Whether it was salsa dancing after meeting our math goals or watching videos about the engineering field, everything she did allowed me to become a better person and student inside and out the classroom.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. We forgot to recognize two students, and I apologize for that. Kimberly Cotton, where are you, Kimberly? Come on up here. Kimberly is a fourth grader, Kimberly, at Lakewood Elementary School, and she finished second at the state art contest in 3D art. Is that right? All right, congratulations, Kimberly. And Ashley Searcy, come on up, Ashley. You are first grade, is that right? Grade, third grade, okay. So this is Ashley Searcy, I'm sorry, Ashley. Ashley is a third grader, and she finished in first place. So last year you were in second, and she actually really won last year. But she was, she finished in first place in the K through 2 3D art contest at the state art contest. So congratulations. I apologize, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
No problem, that's great.
Mr. Wright, would you be able to get their pictures in the back?
We,
Thank you.
Like to hear from these great students. It really sounds good. That's the best
Well,
part.
it's really neat to have these elementary kids winning these statewide awards. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. John Wright, did we have any other business?
sir.
No, okay.
I'm sorry.
All right, no problem. Construction updates, Sherman, Carter, Barnhart, and I believe Kenny's here to be on deck tonight.
I know I'm going a little bit against protocol, but I wanted to get you some other photo updates, because by the time we have to take the pictures and get them in the process to get them to you all, they're a couple weeks old. So these pictures are a couple days old. They were taken Tuesday, so I wanted to get those in your hands because it does show quite a bit of progress. And the previous photos that are in your all's packet really focused on buttoning up the outside and what was going on there. So I wanted to get some interior photos for you. So just to give you a brief update at Cecilia Valley, a lot of work is ongoing as they try to get to the finish line. I will tell you that the substantial completion date that was revised to October 14th, they did not hit that date. And there's a 1 month window between substantial and final. So here we are November 15th, so we're not 100% complete. The revised date that the contractor has given us to be, have his occupancy permit and be complete is November the 27th. So we will monitor that closely to see how close he gets to that. I fully expect him to get an occupancy permit. We are starting our punch list on the areas of the building that he says he is ready for. So we're making ourselves available as we we do it. But there's an enormous amount of activity going on. If you go over there, you'll say "excuse me" about 24 times as you walk down the halls. There's that much going on, but there's a lot to do to get to the finish. If you look through the photographs, I did take some inside the second one is inside the gymnasium. The floor is in place and they're assembling the bleachers. So the only thing left to do in there would be to come back and do the floor finish and the striping. So that's not a big deal in there. The next one is in the cafeteria. That floor is now down. And so, we're very close in there. The serving lines is the next photo. Those are up in place in the kitchen. And then inside the lobby, you see the clerestory in the next photos. The upper lobby, which is looking really, really good. And then the grand stair in the center. And then another one, the next one is overlooking the media center, which now they have the furniture, in place there. And then just a couple more shots in the building. The one thing I would say that we're looking at right now is there's one area of the building where they haven't been able to do the polished stained concrete, and that's the center of the building, which is the main lobby. The plan, at least the contractor has told me, the plan is for them to clear everybody out and get that done over the weekend. So that really is where everything kind of ties together. They have to have time to stain that, cure it, and polish it. So I'm hoping that they will get that completed this weekend.
Kenny, this picture right here
Yes,
of
ma'am.
the hall, is that upstairs or downstairs?
That is downstairs, first floor.
Okay.
The guy had just finished polishing it and walked around the corner. So they haven't got the base down. You can see the edges where that's not finished there because there's something that covers that up.
Okay,
But the
okay,
floor
that's what I was
finish, they had
wanting to
just done that.
That floor looks wonderful.
Yeah, that's no one had had a chance to step over it and get dust, new footprints on it, so it does look pristine right there.
Yeah.
So I guess the main takeaway is that they've got some work to do, but there isn't any large items that are obstacles that would prevent them from getting their CO and getting done. There aren't any glaring holes in it. It's just a lot to finish and a lot of people stepping over each other to get that done. So, I feel like that they certainly can get it done in the time frame they've given. I still think we'll be in there I still think they'll be working off punch list items, but we want to get our punch done before you all take occupancy, because I don't want to get in a situation where, well, you put that scratch on the wall, the contractor didn't. So, you know, we want to get our punch list complete and in their hands so that we don't have that kind of issue come up. So that's pretty much where we are. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have, but.
Looking back on the whole project, what do you think was the most major cause of not making the time we anticipated getting done?
You know, I mean, weather is, you deal with that for every project. And there were a couple items that this building, the way it's designed, they had a couple items in the middle of the building that they were delayed on getting, even to the point where they just barely now have gotten that closed in because of the clerestory windows. That was a pretty long lead item on those. But, you know, Charlie, I can't really point to any one specific thing. And, you know, it's not to the contractor's advantage to delay because he just is there longer and it's costing him more money. But, you know, it definitely took them longer than they anticipated.
Well, that's, you know, normally there's some reason, and I know they complained, or I think they mentioned a few times that they were waiting on some material. Now, sometimes that's the contractor's fault for not getting it ordered soon enough.
Yeah,
and you can, you know, you can throw it on anybody's shoulders you want to, but I think they fought a little bit of wet mud issues that was their fault because they should have spent a little money on some rock a little earlier than they did. And I just wondered because, you know, we down the road you can keep kicking that can, but you need to know what's causing the problem and so it can be addressed.
Well, you know, for the longest time, they kept saying, we're behind, but we're going to catch up.
Right.
You know, and that amount they were behind has just kind of stuck with us the whole way. So I don't, and, you know, that's, contractor could have changed that, but, you know.
We're probably in one of the worst times that I've seen in quite a while for labor. They are scarce. And some of these tradespeople are even getting harder to find, and that's, are we going to need to allow more time for schools to get built or projects than we have before? Or
You know, it's hard to say. We had 3 other projects that were going on about the same time as Cecilia Valley, and, you know, timing-wise, they were behind too. So Taylorsville Elementary was one of those. They did go ahead and move in the building, but they moved in before it was ready. Way before it was ready. And that creates a whole different set of problems as well.
yeah, you know, I'm glad that we're holding up. I know we're operating on borrowed time on some could be utility failures in our other school or mechanical failures in our other school, but I'm glad that we've got a place to stay until we get, I'd like to see it complete.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is a blessing that you have that ability to do that. But, you know, we're still pushing and trying to get, like I said, our goal is to get our punch list complete so that, again, their roadmap was the same as ours, you know, so we're not getting in that situation. Because, no, you have to have time to move in the building and get ready for school. I guess the only other thing I would mention just in closing is that we have 10 change orders on the job and we're still less than we were on bid day as far as the total construction cost. So that's one good.
That's a plus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they usually don't happen quite that way. So
Yeah.
we're pleased with that. And that's the only one I have. I'm quickly working myself out of a job.
Are you?
Closed out the other project.
We're worried about you.
I know you are, Charlie.
Any other questions? Not, we appreciate it, Kenny.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
you.
Okay, JRA and Rob is here tonight, I believe.
Further walk tonight in the back row tonight.
Hiding in the back.
Yes, sir. I actually swung over to John Harden before I walked in, so I was a few minutes late. And that's really what I'm here to report on tonight. The athletic minor sports project continues to go along exceedingly well. I don't know if anybody's driven over there recently, but our masonry work is complete. The new band tower, complete with John Harden red and black, has been erected here in the last few days. It's up, and really I think the big theme for my report tonight is we're sort of on the downhill slope of finishing up the project. We have our next progress meeting scheduled with the contractor the week after Thanksgiving, so the last week of November. And I suspect at that time we will begin to schedule our closeout conversations. Our punch list should be scheduled by then, our final building inspection and occupancy permits, all of that, starting to come together probably in the month of December. Some of those things will be sequential, similar to the Cecilia Valley project. We'll punch it first before we ever recommend any occupancy of the buildings. But we continue to be very, very satisfied with the contractor's performance. They've been very professional throughout the entire process. I know they've also been very responsive to Mr. Stucker and Mr. Stith, and that's really all we can ever hope for. Contractually, our substantial completion date is unchanged, and our contract amount is unchanged to date. And I do not have any change orders to present tonight on the project. So with that, I'll take any questions. There are reports included in the board packet tonight. Similarly, those are about 2 weeks old, just from our last progress meeting and other reporting. So they've made swift gains on all of the buildings in just the last, really the last month. Has moved pretty swiftly, despite some of the rain that we've had.
Do they build complete school projects, or are they just more in the smaller end like this project was?
No, actually, they're actually quite a large contractor.
Are they?
They are. We interface with them a lot in the Lexington market, particularly with UK. They do quite a bit of work. They're doing the new baseball stadium at UK currently. They're also doing the new law building renovation at UK currently. So they're a large firm.
Yeah, I've heard. That's the first time I'm not familiar with them at all, but I've heard good things about
and
it.
they're not an upstart either. They go, way back. Their name has changed slightly over the decades through ownership, but our firm is equally as old as theirs.
Yeah.
And we've had a long history together. They're a good firm.
Yeah.
How many locker room buildings are we building over there?
We are building 3 locker room buildings, but the softball, baseball has 2 on both sides of it. So there's the soccer building that has, both sets. The baseball, softball does, and then the track building has men's and boys and girls in it as well. So the buildings are 3 that they're doubled up, so 6 rooms total, and then the media towers also for track and baseball and softball. So and then you can almost count the band tower as a separate building, since it has a certain monumentality of its own. It's 32 feet tall, so it's if anybody wants to climb stairs and get an aerobic workout, it's just the thing.
That'll be 50 feet tall next thing you know.
Yeah.
No, we'll have to put an elevator in.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't ask for one.
Any other questions? All right, we appreciate it, Rob.
Thank you very much.
You shouldn't say that about an elevator.
Ms. Palmer, did you have a question for Kenny on the change order?
Yes, it shows that, in your report, it shows that there's a $500 change order, but I don't have one in my packet. Did you submit that for this meeting?
No, that just hasn't.
Okay.
Come through.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You interested in donating that 500?
I was just looking to see
Oh,
what it was for. It says it was coming to the board in the November meeting, so I was looking at it.
Get every chance I get for a donation. But it sounds like we're getting some, we've really had some good corporate sponsorship.
Oh, absolutely.
Scholarships and for EC3 projects and so forth, the people are really coming across. Hardin County Schools are doing great in that field. Great.
Yes, they are very supportive.
Yes. All right. Consideration of the consent agenda. And, do we have anything that anyone wants to pull out or discuss any more? Fairly small consent agenda tonight.
I'm gonna make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
All right.
I don't see anything on there that's,
Second thought.
Most of the items are approval of some PG4s and CO4s and CO9s, and everybody knows what all those things are, I'm sure.
H2Os and CO2.
But now they're all school projects that we've been working on, and then got the classified and certified personnel actions, site-based minutes, PAC information.
we're having too many meetings, there's too many minutes on here.
Yeah, we had October the 19th meetings, and November the 2nd and November the 7th, and tonight will be on next month's agenda soon. All right, any other questions, concerns? If not, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Action items. We need to recess the regular board meeting and have a Hardin County School District Finance Corporation special meeting. And I think this is over doing some bond work that Skip's here to tell us about all the money he's going to save us tonight. And so we need a motion to recess our regular meeting and a motion to...
We don't need a motion.
We don't?
No.
We don't have
We
to have
don't.
one to
No,
open
sir.
this other one?
No,
Okay. Done.
You ready?
We're ready, Skip.
Good evening. So if you saw me,
Chip, sorry about that.
I tell you what,
Just
that
long?
is the second nicest thing I've ever been called. I'll take Skip. I mean, it's fine. I have you haven't met my youngest daughter. My youngest daughter's Lily, then I have a Lucy, and then we have a dog named Millie. So they all three get called everything. So I'm, Skip, Chip, Chris.
Just as long as you're called when the paycheck comes in, all right?
As long as I'm here to report on bonds, which I am. So I wanted to give you all an update. I'm here with my colleague Bobby Cook, and just want to kind of communicate what's going on in the marketplace. So when I was here last month at the last board meeting, the board approved a resolution, and we said, hey, we're going to monitor the market, and if it's good, we'll go forward with the refunding. If not, we'll report. So unfortunately, I'm here to kind of report what's been going on with the interest rate environment in the bond market. But I still would like for the board to consider passing the resolutions for the Special District Finance Corporation so that if the markets improve, then we can refinance if the time makes, if the interest rates make sense. The only difference, though, that I wanted to report on is everybody's kind of following the news, the tax bill that's been proposed in Washington, D.C. And I don't remember, did I touch on that the last time I was here?
No.
Well, so, okay.
the short story is that there was a provision in there. So we've talked about advance refundings before, where the school district has issued bonds in advance of their call date to refinance and take advantage of lower interest rates, which is a common occurrence for all issuers across the country. And so that tax bill had a provision in it that said that that won't be allowed anymore. And it was in the House version of the bill, and the Senate version kept it as well. So it looks like it might be that advance refundings aren't allowed after December 31st, which is great timing. So here's where we are. When we gave numbers to John in September, I said, "Hey, John, this Mr. Stitt, the numbers look good and make sense. We want to go before the board. The interest rate on the new bonds." Think about this. So your old. I'm sorry about the microphone. The old interest rate is it's a little over 4.5%. And so when we shared numbers with him, we could lower it to 2.5%, and that was going to save quite a bit of money. And savings was going to be over 7%. And it was going to be about $34,000 per year. So it was kind of no-brainer territory. And then I came in October and met with you and said, "Hey, markets are softening," and the interest rate then was 275, so we can go from a 450 to a 275 now, and that was going to be about $26,000 a year savings, still exceeding Department of Education's threshold for when it makes sense to refinance. So here I come today. We just we've sold bonds this week, so we have a good proxy for what your alls would look like. And the interest rate now is almost as high as 3% for the refunding bonds, which means that the savings would only be around $200,000 gross, or $21,000 per year. And it doesn't meet the threshold for KDE, which is 5%. And even if it did meet 5%, absent this noise in Washington, D.C., I'm not sure it would be a real compelling refunding anyway for some other reasons. But it would, in our opinion, would make sense to go ahead and get the approval out of the way, so that you just don't know, you never know what will happen between now and the next 3 weeks. We have about 3 more weeks of prime bond selling time, and markets change all the time. And if with the approval tonight, we can correspond with Mr. Stitt and say, "Hey, market's improved, we can go," and that kind of thing. So that's what I wanted to report on, and can answer any questions you guys have about it.
So if this tax bill in Washington passes, we'll have to do all this by the 31st of December?
So what would happen is, so these bonds are 2011 issues, and so their call date is 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So they're 10-year calls, which is typical. If this bill passed and we didn't do this before December 31st, and we only have, like I said, 3 more weeks left effectively to sell bonds. So let's say the rates don't improve between now and then, and we don't do it, and that law passes. What will happen is you'll have to wait until 2021 before you can refinance. You won't be able to, even if interest rates go to 0, you're not allowed to issue bonds in advance of their call date, which is 2021. It's not the end of the world for issuers, other than you have to wait till the call date, and interest rates might not be favorable by then.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I just love those folks in Washington.
So
we still may not sell.
Correct. And if we had to do it today, we wouldn't sell. You don't meet KDE's threshold, but even if you did it 5%, then there would be a question of, okay, what are the odds of that law passing, and should we go ahead and take its savings now, or should we just kind of wait and see what happens in 2021?
Not far off.
Not far off. Not far off, really. My age is going by faster, too.
So what we need to do is give you permission. I thought we'd already done that.
You did, yes.
This is the final, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
This will be the final step. And so if the numbers work, we pull the trigger. If not, then we pray it away to 2021.
But if we make the motion tonight to allow you to do it, then that is a new legislation that would, so we could do it any time that it's right.
So so if I have a summary of the resolution, which is just, like John said, letting the Finance Corporation authorize this issuance. And we're not issuing bonds because the rates aren't good. Let's say that the bill looks like it's going to pass or will pass by December 31st. Then we have basically 3 weeks to hope that interest rates are favorable for us, or we can't do it until 2021. Or if they take this provision out, which there's a good chance they might, because you got to imagine they're punishing a lot of local governments and hospitals and cities and counties and schools all across the country with this rule. Maybe they take it out, and maybe we don't sell at the end of the year because rates aren't as good. But with authorization, we can watch over the next 6 months, which you all have done before, and if it makes sense, pop it in the market then.
Even if they pass that bill, will it automatically go into effect at the end of the year? Don't they usually have, wait till sometime next year for those to go into effect?
Well, that's a good point, but in this particular situation with this, they would make it effective
Immediately.
January 1, 2018. We also, tied up in this is private activity bonds, which is when Baptist healthcare issues bonds, make 501c3s will issue tax-exempt debt, but there's a lot of stuff tied up in it. Causing noise in our market, our interest rates have risen, so that's why our refunding doesn't work, but the authorization helps with flexibility down the road.
Okay.
It's exciting.
Are you going to read the motion or whatever?
I'd be happy to. A resolution of the Board of Directors of the Hardin County School District Finance Corporation providing for the issuance of $6,370,000 principal amount, subject to a permitted increase of $635,000 or decrease in an amount determined by the corporation to be in the best interest of the corporation. Of school building refunding revenue bonds, series of 2017, dated approximately December 7, 2017. The refunding bonds in accordance with sections 162.120 through 162.300, 162.385, and 58.18 of the Kentucky Revised Statutes for the purpose of retiring prior to their respective maturities certain of the outstanding Hardin County School District Finance Corporation school building revenue bonds, series of 2011 dated February 22nd, 2011, and certain of the outstanding Hardin County School District Finance Corporation school building revenue bonds, second series of 2011 dated May 17, 2011, the prior issues, through the deposit and investment in escrow of the net proceeds of the refunding bonds, providing for the payment of principal of and interest on certain bonds of said prime issues by redemption in advance of maturity, providing for the creation of certain funds to effect the defeasance of the rights of the owners of certain of the bonds of the prior issues and transfer of certain amounts into certain funds, providing for the payment of said refunding bonds and the interest thereon, providing for the rights of the registered owners of said refunding bonds and the enforcement thereof, authorizing and approving the execution of tax compliance procedures, and providing for an advertised public competitive sale of said refunding bonds.
I move what he said.
Chip, you need to thank a teacher for teaching you to read.
I'll second it.
Can you repeat that, Mr. Kenny?
I said I move what he said.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on it? If
Mr.
not,
Reed would like Chip to read that again. He didn't get all of it.
Yes, sir.
Voting, Mr. Kenny?
Aye.
Ms. Palmer?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Shannon?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna make the attorney read this, and I'm gonna make them come to the board meeting next
Save
time
us,
and read it. All right.
save us some money.
What's that?
We have one.
Don, you wanna?
I'm good. I think you did an excellent job, Jim.
All right. So now we're going to adjourn the Finance Corporation meeting, and we're going to call our regular board meeting back to order. And we're ready for new business. Superintendent's report.
I'm going to ask John Wright to come up. I might put him on the spot, and then he can put Carlene on the spot if he would want to. But the Sicilian Bank is doing a drive right now to support the backpack program. And so I'm going to ask John if he will tell us
Yes,
a little
so
bit
from
about
what
that.
When I understand that, and Carlina, you may kick me under the table here, but what I understand, the Sicilian Bank is doing a program where if somebody goes to their social media pages and likes or follows them on social media, and then you have to type in the name of the county that you want. So they are giving a $5 donation to the backpack program when you do that. So then you have to type in the name of the county where you want it to go. And so we shared that on our social media the other day, not as an advertisement for the Sicilian Bank, but they are doing that for the backpack program, which, as you all know, so many of our students benefit from. There's a lot of our students that would go hungry on the weekends if it wasn't for this program. Do you have anything to add?
They actually put an ad on social media that you just like, share, and then type your county in at the bottom. And they have set aside a certain amount of money that they will take all of those counties and they'll divide it. So if Hardin County has 90% of those comments underneath their ad, Hardin County will get 90% of the amount of money they've set aside. And they've set aside several $1,000s to be able to help the backpack program.
So we encourage folks to do that. Again, not as an advertisement for them, but they're helping our kids. So we're all for that.
Now, the one thing that was pointed out is we have 87 students on a waiting list for the backpack program. So once they got wind of that, that's the reason why they're doing this, in hopes that we can add more students to that backpack program. But for the rest of the superintendent's report, I really, in September, we talked about the goals for the district being academic. So I just really want to brag on our schools. We had our principals meeting the other day, and Mr. Sutton had the schools to come in with common assessments, talk about results, what type of teaching was leading to those really good results, what areas we needed to improve in and change. Ms. Linda Reed's been working with the schools to create assessments to use in the buildings, and all of that is getting our schools really focused. I've had more comments about how they're really feeling good about being on a common page. So just really appreciate the work that the teachers are doing at the schools to make that happen, and the communication that they're having with one another about those results. It's not just when we ask them to talk, they're doing that more outside the classroom to assist one another. So just really want to thank all of our principals and teachers for the hard work they're doing day in and day out to bring success for our students. So.
Do you know how many kids we have on that backpack program?
A lot.
I know one time it was like 750. I just wondered.
So
Do you
we've
have
got-
any idea, Carla?
So
I will.
We've
I
got
will find out that
95
number.
or 75 on a waiting list.
85.
85? Folks,
And how do we handle those? What's the procedure to get?
They go hungry, I guess.
Well,
don't
hopefully
want to
with
go
the increase of donations, we will be able to send food home with them over the weekend. So,
What happens to them in between? We just go hungry on the weekends, or
well,
we don't want them doing that?
right, I agree with that. So that's the reason some of our organizations have really gotten in. Jody Bodner from the Radcliffe North Middle Family Resource Center is collecting snacks. So the schools really do work hard to try to help them, but they're not getting the same food that the backpack program students would
Are they spread out
have.
pretty much all over?
They are all over the county, yes.
So what's the cost of the backpack program per week? Anyone know?
Basically, the food they send home on Fridays, and you have to remember, they get a much reduced rate on food, and that's the reason we ask people to actually donate money, because
Right.
for every one of our dollars, it's like 3 to 5 on their behalf. So the food they send home on weekends is a $3 cost to Feed America. But that $3, if we went out and bought those same food materials, would cost us much more than that. So it's a great program. So
And I would share that a lot of our students through their service clubs or service organizations go to Feeding America on their own time, or maybe even during the school day and during club time, to pack food so they're really helping, it's students helping students.
Right.
In reality, we're one of the leaders. Hardin County Schools is one of the leaders in that regard. We received, I think, a platinum award from Feeding America, and I may be mistaken in the terminology there, but we've won one of the top awards, or earned one of the top awards from Feeding America, because our students get it. They're serving others.
So we're about $255 a week
A
short
week,
of
yes.
what we need.
Yes.
Well, we need to do something about that now.
Well,
So,
and
well, if you hit Secession Bank 85 times, you got it covered. My secretary sits there, you know, she could spend a lot of time during
Yeah,
the
but
day
they
doing
don't
this.
count it like that, but that's something that needs to be done, something needs to be done about that now.
It's just a sad commentary that we have to do this at all.
Right.
right.
But we
I
do.
think it's a
Yeah.
great opportunity. We talked about how blessed we are to be in a community with multiple community partners, and we certainly are. So I just, that is something the viewers of this board meeting tonight can go out and do and encourage others to do, so.
And there's a lot of churches out here that's got a weekly program. I see them beside our business on a regular basis. People come and so, you know, we're probably not counting those people that are helping, but they are a lot of people helping.
Right, right. So, just
Okay.
need to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
That's
And
right, it's
safe,
next
and
week,
safe
isn't it?
travels. Next Thursday, I believe, is Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And I don't think we need an executive session tonight. So,
We don't have an executive session tonight? Okay.
yeah, we're good.
You ready for a motion to adjourn? I'm ready.
Have a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
No,
No? You
we'll
want to
stay
stay?
along a little longer.
Dawn will approve it. All right, I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Happy Thanksgiving.